Hello, and I hope you are ready to read today, because I've picked out some selections today that have to do with what today is. It is April 23rd, which is, if my calendar is correct, St. George's Day, and that is a holiday that is especially celebrated in places like the United Kingdom. St. George, the most popular story about him was when he saved a village from a dragon that was terrorizing the townspeople. But St. George went out and he slew the dragon. Now, did that story really happen? Well, there's a dragon involved, so you decide that. But of course, we have to read about creatures such as dragons, all kinds of mythical creatures, and that means, of course, we have to start with Eric Carle's Dragons, which of course means we need to start with a poem about dragons. Dragon by Carle. Let me tell you about me. Children love me. You're a child. All my heads are green and handsome. All my eyes are red and wild. All my toes have claws upon them. All the claws have hooks. I blow smoke through all my noses. It is hotter than it looks. All my tails have points upon them. All my teeth are sharp and blue. I won't bite you very badly. I am fond of you. All my scales are shaped like arrows. They will hurt you if you touch. So, although I know you love me, do not pet me very much. This is a three-headed dragon. Speaking of creatures with three heads, Cerberus. There, that terrible three-necked hound. Cerberus crouched, baying savagely from his triple throat. He barred the way to Pluto's house. In ancient Greek mythology, they believe that Cerberus was a three-headed dog with a tail of a snake that guarded the entrance to the underworld, where people, after they died, that's where Greeks thought that people went, was to the underworld, which was ruled by Pluto, or Hades. Speaking of more creatures with more than one head, Chimera. Do you always act polite? Or would you dare a chimera to fight? You might, but you'd regret it, because he isn't a he, he's an us, and all three heads are dangerous. But look, here comes Bellerophon upon the winged horse Pegasus. Big deal, he says, Mr. Lion Goat Snake. You're a silly mistake. You have too many heads. You can't be real. You don't exist. And with one twist of his magic sword, he turned that chimera into a word. The chimera obviously having three heads there: a lion, a snake, and a goat. In fact, the word chimera is sometimes used today to describe anything that is composed of many different strange parts. Oh, the hippocamp. O fibrous horse that's half a fish, from stem to stern it's of a piece. The hippocamp, brave finny god, once roamed the seas of ancient Greece. Who else dared trample down the waves, with scaly tail to swish? Who swam and galloped all at once, fulfilling every fish's wish? But is it creature, or is it myth, engraved upon a monolith? The hippocamp, another creature from Greek mythology, said, as you can see, to have the body of a horse and the tail of a fish. And it was said that Poseidon, the god of the seas, rode upon this hippocamp whenever he needed to go where he wanted to go. Oh, here are some here are a couple of creatures that are not composed of other creatures. Anansi the spider. Anansi. He is spider to the Ashanti people. In Ashanti land, people love Kwaku Anansi. This funny fellow is a rogue, a wise and lovable trickster. He is a shrewd and cunning figure. Anansi is a mischief maker. He tumbles into many troubles. You may have read stories about Anansi the Spider-Man or the Man-Spider. It depends on who you ask. Some cultures depict him as a man with spider-like qualities. Some of them depict him as a spider, as you saw there. Sometimes he is wise, sometimes he is foolish, and he is always full of mischief. Okolo, the leopard warrior. He comes. Towering in majesty over the people, Okolo has come from the heart of the forest, the leopard warrior, young and strong. He stands there in glory, and then he is gone. The lord of the beasts has gone back to the forest, swift as a leopard that leaps on its prey. Okolo the leopard warrior. That is a creature that originates in Nigeria. He is said to be a legendary leopard warrior of the Yoruba tribe, and he can be represented in a ceremonial dance mask. One more today. The Kraken. 'Neath ice-locked waves the Kraken lies, in wait for passing ships, to gobble them as you or I might munch potato chips. The Kraken is said to be a monstrous sea creature living under the ocean that, if a ship comes too close, it attacks it and tries to destroy it. It is depicted in many different ways. It usually is shown as having large tentacles that can completely wrap up a ship. All right. We move on to another. Well, this is, as far as mythical creatures go, this is an interesting one. This is called Night of the Gargoyles by Bunting. Now, a gargoyle in real life is a stone creation. You see them sometimes on cathedrals or giant buildings. They are stone creatures. Well, they're not really creatures, of course, because they're carved out of stone, but they're supposed to look like strange beasts. And this is a story about what a gargoyle might do if it were to come alive at night. Gargoyle. A waterspout in the form of a grotesque, or a very strange-looking, human or animal figure projecting from the roof or eaves of a building. They are not designed to be pretty. Night of the Gargoyles. The gargoyles squat, high on corners, staring into space, their empty eyes unblinking. Till night comes. Then there is movement in the shadowy corners as the gargoyles creep on stubs of feet along the high ledges and peer, nearsighted, into rooms where mummies lie in boxes, long and thin as coffins, ribboned round with painted boats and figures dark as night. And gargoyle creep again to gape at suits of armor, shining, stiff, the helmets hinged on eyes as bloodless as their own. Who are these gargoyles if they are seeing these mummies and these suits of armor? Or, tired of viewing, fly, if they have gargoyle wings, straight up to lick the stars with long stone tongues, green pickled at the edges. Or land in sleeping trees to swing on branches, da-dee-da, and feel the air move cool against their pockmarked stone. Then down they swoop to where a fountain splashes dark, the water spitting from a cherub's mouth. They gargoyle hunch around the rim and gargoyle grunt with friends from other corners who have come for company. They grunt of what they've seen and where they've been, how hot the corners where the sun is high, especially the ones beside the clock, how noisy too. They grump of summer passing and the rain that pours in torrents through their gaping lips and chokes their throats with autumn's leaves. They lap the water with their mossy tongues, split-splat each other with their claws, and boom those gargoyle laughs that rumble thick because there is no space inside their solid stone for laughs to somersault. A watchman hurries by and checks the sky for thunder. He's seen the gargoyles huddle there before, and once he told the man behind the frosted door, and heard him snort his disbelief. "Gargoyles indeed! You're seeing things." So now he checks the sky to hide his fear. The gargoyles rasp their wings and put their thumbs behind their crumbling ears to show their scorn. They have no love of humans who have made them so, and set them high on ledges where dark pigeons go. They stomp their feet and rumble laugh to see the watchman close his eyes and turn away. "Hawk!" the gargoyles scream, and "Hawk!" again, and spread their lips in mischief smiles. The watchman hunches down and hurries on. It's almost morning now, and so the gargoyles fly or wingless crawl up walls as spiders do. They take their corners quietly and stare, their empty eyes unblinking. Till night comes. The end. So, fantastical, wonderful, frightening, scary, and very strange creatures today. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time.